Welcome to the Farming Without the Bank podcast, the show with a no BS approach to money, hosted by a farm strategy expert and authorized IBC practitioner. Join us as we get real and expose the flaws of traditional financial institutions in order to help farmers take control of their finances, create peace of mind, grow their wealth, and leave a legacy. Now, here's your host, Mary Jo Ehrman.
Hello, and welcome back to the podcast. Thank you very much for being here. I appreciate it. All right, today, let's talk about scrubbing your language. That's what we call it in this industry. And there is so much stuff out there, and there are so many people that even my clients, I am constantly scrubbing language, and I'm not doing it to be rude, and I'm not doing it to be a Karen. But it is super, super important. So I'm going to go through a couple of things today that we just need to make sure that we are talking about correctly. And here's the thing. If you are out there and you're using a different agent and that agent doesn't know anything about IBC, or they say that they know stuff about IBC and then they're saying things wrong, they don't know what they think they know about IBC, okay? There are a lot of people out there today that are talking about infinite banking policies and infinite banking concept and all this stuff, and they are not IBC authorized. They are not authorized practitioners. And when we talk about why is Mary Jo authorized, I am authorized because we are keeping infinite banking pure to what Nelson wanted it to be. If you don't know who Nelson Nash is, he is the author of the book, Becoming Your Own Banker, and the founder of the concept. He is the one that founded the infinite banking concept. And so we are just trying to keep it whole and pure to what it is because it's gotten a little bit bastardized. And that is absolutely pathetic. And so we are trying to keep this as an institute. We're trying to keep this as whole and pure as we can. And there are people out there that are creating amazing videos with a lot of misinformation. And I could have a podcast every day on the crap that I am seeing online. And so be very, very careful what you're doing. I see stuff from other people that are supposedly teaching IBC that is not correct. It's not a correct policy. It's not a correct thought process. It's not correct language. And so we're going to clean some of that up today with these 5 things that I have to talk about, okay? Number 1, pull money. You don't pull money when you borrow it. People will say, well, I'm just going to pull money from my policy. No, you don't pull money. Or they'll say, number 2, I'm going to take money. No, you don't pull money and you don't take money. You borrow against your policy. And this is where it's confusing. People like Dave the Dipstick will say, he says, why would you pay to use your own money? Well, Dave, you're not paying to use your own money. You are borrowing against your money. You are paying a life insurance company interest to use their money. And so as you're even talking to people about the concept, they're going to say, why would I pay to use my own money? Because you're not using your money. You're not paying to use your money. And so when we talk about we're going to pull money or we're going to take money, when you call the life insurance company, you say, hey, I want to take $10,000. They're going to physically withdraw that money because you can withdraw money and you can borrow against it. Okay. You can take a loan or you can withdraw. Guess what? If you say I want to take or I want to pull money, they're going to withdraw it. When you withdraw money from your life insurance policy, you cannot put it back. It physically came out. It is not earning uninterrupted compound interest anymore. It came out of your account. Okay? It reduced your death benefit. You don't want to do that. Number 3, this money is tax-free. You can Put it in tax-free. Oh my God. I saw that the other day on a TikTok. I almost lost my ever-loving mind. No, you pay taxes on the money before it goes into the policy. It grows income tax free. It is not 100% tax free. It has estate tax attached to it if your estate is over the estate tax limit. Okay? But it is not just tax free. Number 4, it is income tax free at retirement. Okay, how you use it matters. You can't just take all of this money out and then it's going to be income tax free. You can take out what you put into the basis. That's what that's called. You can take out what you put in, but everything else has to be borrowed or you're going to pay tax on it. How this is portrayed is super, super important. And number 5, I want an IBC policy. And I hear this a lot. Mary Jo, I want an IBC policy. Okay, there is no such thing called an IBC policy. I can't go to the insurance company and say, hey, do you have an IBC policy? No, it's a whole life insurance policy with a dividend paying company. We want a mutual company that pays dividends. We want that policy structured correctly for our needs. So because people think, well, IBC is life insurance. IBC is not life insurance. The infinite banking concept is not life insurance. The infinite banking concept is a thought process of how to utilize money correctly. The first half of Nelson's book gets neglected. The first half of my book gets neglected because people don't think it's important, when in fact, that is super important. The infinite banking concept is extremely important. The tool for us to use for uninterrupted compound interest to leave our money liquid so we can access it happens to be whole life insurance, dividend paying whole life insurance. Nelson talked about in the concept that the banks are making money, right? He talks about the fact that if you buy a CD and you borrow against a CD, then you're using the bank's money. When you use the bank's money, who gets a profit? The bank. The owners of the bank get a profit. So, if we use a life insurance policy that is with a mutual company, who gets the profit when the company makes money? We do, because we now are part owners of that company, right? So he's comparing the two. When people say, I want an IBC policy, or if an agent says, okay, I'll sell you an infinite banking policy, they don't even know what they're talking about. That is not, they're two completely different things. And so when we get out into the big bad world and people start seeing, oh, I can sell a policy to make money, they're just going to sell. They're not going to teach. If you have a policy with somebody and they're not teaching you how to use the concept, they don't have a podcast like this that's constantly trying to teach, then what did you get? You got sold a policy. When we are talking about the infinite banking concept, please don't email me and say, Mary Jo, can I get an infinite banking policy? Can I get an IBC policy? No, you can get a policy, but I'm going to teach you the concept of how to think about those things. And last week in my podcast, I talked about somebody that wasn't thinking correctly about generational wealth. He wasn't thinking correctly about how to fund the policy and what monies to use to do so. That is the concept piece. That is the thought process and utilization of money. If we're not thinking correctly about that stuff, where does the money come in for the policy? How do we use the policy? We don't. We act like it's a savings account, right? And so if we're going to utilize the concept correctly, we need to understand the concept. The policy just helps us do that, right? If we're going to build a house, we need to understand how to build the house. The tools, the hammers, the saws, the other things are going to help us build. But if we don't have the knowledge of how to build it, we can have all the tools in the world and it does not matter. We could build the crappiest house on the planet. How many contractors do that? A lot. Don't get me started on contractors, right? So think about that. If you are talking to somebody that is using this language that is not correct, it is confusing to people. I talked to somebody yesterday and he's like, yeah, my wife just doesn't quite get it. She's not quite on board. And he said, well, I told her that we can take the money and use it. And I said, okay, the language is probably confusing her because you can access the money in a borrowed form. You're going to borrow against it. You're not going to take it. So for somebody that doesn't understand, they're visualizing, I'm going to take this money. For somebody that doesn't understand, they're going to go to an agent and say, I want an IBC policy. You mean you want a whole life insurance policy to practice the infinite banking concept, right? I have an email today from somebody that said, oh, hey, my buddy sells for X company. Can he set up a policy for me? He doesn't know anything about IBC. Well, if he doesn't know anything about IBC, then you're buying a policy. You're not getting taught a concept. So you get to decide what you want to do. Do you want somebody that can teach you a concept, or do you want to buy a damn life insurance policy? Because if you want to buy a policy, go buy the policy and good luck. And it's super fun when they say, well, Mary Jo, I get the concept. Do you? Do you get the concept? Because I'm in this 14 years, eat, sleep, and breathe it, and I'm still learning it. So how do you get it after listening to 50 or 60 or 100 podcasts? Good, I guess you're a quick learn. I mean, that's crazy to me. Or somebody will say, well, Mary Jo, I'm a life insurance agent and I understand the concept. Just how do you structure the policy? And then if I talk to said individual, guess what? They don't know crap about the concept. My God, people, I read the book every day. Or not every day, I'm sorry. I read it a couple of times a year. And I still see stuff in there that I've missed. And so for you to come to me and say, yeah, I think I got the concept. Well, I don't think you're my client. Go somewhere else if you've arrived, because apparently you've missed that chapter of the book called the arrival syndrome. That's in there for a reason, right? It's the concept, which is not a policy. The language is so important. And I'm not trying to be a Karen. It is all about making sure that we don't create a monster out of something that's awesome, because people are doing that and other people are getting caught up in it. And then they're going to say, well, the infinite banking concept is terrible. No, it's not terrible. It could be the people that you bought from are not good. They're not keeping it whole to IBC. Have you gone on to the Nelson Nash Institute website, infinitebanking.org? Have you gone there to see if the person you're working with is an authorized practitioner? If they are not authorized, why are you working with them? See my little thing back there if you're on YouTube? Yeah, I have a certificate because of I am authorized. The Institute is there to keep the concept whole and pure. It is not there because the Institute wants to make money. Like this whole idea of, oh, you don't need to be certified or you don't need to be authorized to teach the concept. Yeah, you probably don't if you want to teach it wrong. But if you want to teach it right, then go ahead and get authorized and work with an authorized practitioner. I am booked out. You can book with John. I have another agent that works with me that understands the concept. He's at all the trainings with me. He gets it. And so if you want to book with John and get in earlier, you can book with John. If you want to book with me, you're going to have to wait. But is it worth the wait? Yes, 100%, because it's going to be taught correctly to you. You're going to have access to me to talk about these things. I am going to correct and scrub your language because it is important to do that so that you are out there in the big bad world talking about it correctly and not misrepresenting it either. Because at the end of the day, you're a reflection of me. And if you don't ever truly understand the concept, then guess what? You cancel your policy. You don't put enough in the policy. You use it or lose it. All of this is in Nelson's book. All of this stuff I've gone over a bazillion times. And so, going to go over it again today. But those are the 5 things I don't want you saying. You're not pulling money. You're not taking money. It's not tax-free. It's income tax-free. It's not free at retirement because we're borrowing it. It is a tax advantage if we borrow against it or if we take out the basis. And it is not an IBC policy. It is a whole life insurance policy used for the infinite banking concept. All right. Let me know if you have comments, questions, concerns. Mary Jo at withoutthebank.com, or you can just go to the MJ hotline and you can leave me a message as well. All right, guys, I hope that helped clear some stuff up. You have a fantastic rest of your day.
Thanks for listening to the Farming Without the Bank podcast. We hope today's episode has inspired you to take control of your finances in new ways. Don't forget to check out our website, farmingwithoutthebank.com, and engage with us on our Facebook page, Farming Without the Bank. Join us next week as we smash more financial myths and empower you to accomplish your financial goals.